Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video I'll be taking you through an introduction to the Space Marines Assault Intercessors. This is going to be a pretty thorough introduction to the Assault Intercessors, and you're going to learn loads as I take you through what they are, the squads and the different sizes, what armour they use, the different weapons, the markings that you can see, the stratagems you can use with them, certain units that can buff up their stats, the transport that's best, the data sheets, and which sets you can buy them in. I'll be taking all the information from the Games Workshop websites, the Space Marines Codex, and the Imperium magazine collection. Right, let's get started. And what are Assault Intercessors? Assault Intercessors are amongst the most widespread close support units in a chapter's arsenal. Firing their heavy bolt pistols as they close upon the foe, they charge into the fray, where they make short work of their enemies with brutal swings of their chainswords. The Assault Intercessors are the perfect troops choice unit for players who favour more aggressive strategies. When you get them up close to the enemy, they're brutal in that close combat. They're also keen to charge and attack at the enemy, so if you like that idea, then they're going to be a great addition for you. They're also armed with deadly war gear that helps them when they get up close and also makes some shooting attacks along the way. You can choose to have them in a squad of 5 or a squad of 10, and each squad is going to have a sergeant as their leader. Each member of the squad is going to be wearing the Mark 10 Tacticus armour, and this is advanced power armour with huge pauldrons to deflect fire. Although it looks bulky, there's certainly lots of freedom of movement, and it's full of auto senses and comms, a ceramite protection layer, it's got magnetised soles, a life support system, and stabilisers. And all this is going to come together to give the Assault Intercessors some great advantages on the battlefield. They're going to be armed with a heavy bolt pistol and a Astartes chainsword, and each member of the squad will also have frag grenades and crack grenades to use as well. But the leader, the sergeant, is going to get some different options if you want to. You can swap out that bolter for a hand flamer or a plasma pistol. They're going to cost you a few points and they're going to get some different stats, but it could be something you want to include. And the same goes for melee weapons. You can swap out that chainsword for a power fist, a power sword, or a thunder hammer. Again, you're going to have to pay some extra points to do that though. And we'll be taking a look at those points when we go through the data sheets later on in this video. Let's take a look at the markings now. And on the 2 shoulder pads, you're going to get different markings. On the right hand shoulder pad of the Space Marine, they're going to get one of these symbols, and for the Assault Intercessors they're going to have the close support icon. With the Ultramarines, you're also going to get a different colour that they're going to use for each of the different companies. So for me, I play 4th company, so I'm going to have a green line around the pauldron. Then on top of that, you're going to have these Roman numerals, and these are going to tell you which squad they're from. And all that will be put together to look something like this. So this will go on the right hand shoulder of the Assault Intercessor, but on the left hand shoulder they're going to have the icon for the chapter that they're in. So if you play Ultramarines, then this will be their icon. The sergeant will be slightly different because, as you can see here, the leaders have different helmets. So the sergeant is going to come with a red helmet. Sometimes the models represent the sergeant without a helmet, like this model here on the right hand side. So you'll see on the knee and also on their left pauldron, they're going to get this red skull, just so you know they're a sergeant. The Assault Intercessors are going to move around the battlefield on foot, but you can also put them in transport. So let's look at the different transport options and how many Intercessors will fit in each method of transport. First up, we've got the Impulsor, and this is going to allow 6 Assault Intercessors to be transported within it. With a movement of 14 inches, this is really going to cover some ground and offer some protection. Next, we've got the Repulsor Executioner. With a movement of 10, it's not going to get quite as much distance covered, but it really is a beast on the battlefield. This is going to take 6 Assault Intercessors as well, so you can get that squad of 5, and then include another unit that can help buff your Assault Intercessors and give them some extra things they can do in battle. And we're going to cover those buffing units next. But first, let's look at the repulsor. This has got a movement of 10 as well, so it's certainly not really fast, but this will be able to take 10 assault intercessors. So if you want to put a squad of 10 in this, then you can certainly do that. And the final method of transport is the awesome Storm Raven gunship. I can't wait to get this model. But in this, you can fit 12 assault intercessors altogether, and this can cover a lot of ground with a minimum movement of 20 inches and a maximum 45 inches. So this is a great model if you really want to cover ground quickly and get them into certain positions on the battlefield. Now let's have a look at the other units you can combine with your assault intercessors to give them some buffs, and these can be in leadership, attacks, wounds, all different things. But I thought we could just focus on each of the different units that can help buff your assault intercessors, and then just focus on one key thing that they can give them. So first up, we've got the Primaris Ancient, and he's got an ability called Astartes Banner, and this is an aura. So any unit within 6 inches of this model, you can add 1 to the leadership characteristic. Next, we've got the Primaris Captain, and he's got an ability called Rites of Battle, another aura. And while a friendly core unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, they can re-roll a hit roll of 1. The next unit is a Primaris Lieutenant, and he's got an ability called Tactical Precision, another aura. And while a friendly core unit is within 6 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit makes an attack, they can re-roll a wound roll of 1. Next is the Primaris Apothecary, and he's got an ability called Narthesium, which is another aura. And while a friendly infantry unit is within 3 inches of this model, each time a model in that unit would lose a wound, you can roll 1d6. And on a 6, that wound is not lost. Next, we've got the Primaris Chaplain, and there's lots he can do, but one of his abilities is called Spiritual Leaders, another aura. And while a friendly core unit is within 6 inches of this model, models in that unit can use this model's leadership characteristic instead of their own. And this guy comes with a leadership of 9. And finally, we've got the Librarian, and this one is in Phobos armor. And you can see these as fantastic models, and each one's going to get a video of their own. But this guy, he can do loads of different things. But one of his abilities is going to allow the unit to re-roll advance and charge rolls. So I think for the assault intercessors, that's a great combination of using the Librarian in Phobos armor with them. Now let's move on and take a look at the datasheet. There's quite a bit to go through here, but let's start with the points value. And for each member of the squad, it's going to cost you 19 points. And then there's a power rating of 5 to 10. If the unit contains 6 or more models, then the power rating will go from a 5 to a 10. Now let's start working through the actual datasheet. And first of all, we've got the name here, which is the assault intercessor. And this is going to give us the profile. So this contains all the characteristics that tell you how good the models in a unit are. So from left to right, we've got a movement of 6 inches, a weapon skill is 3+, ballistic skill 3+, strength is 4, toughness is 4, wounds is 2, attacks 2, leadership is 7, and the save is going to be a 3+. If you've not seen the data sheets before, then I will do another video that goes into a lot more detail about what all these mean. But in this video, we'll just focus on the overview and a good look at all the different components of the data sheet. So now let's look at the Assault Intercessor Sergeant, and he's going to be pretty much the same, except here for attacks, you can see that's a 3, and his leadership has gone up from a 7 to an 8. This next section tells us about the power rating, but also what the model's equipped with. And you can see here that every model is equipped with a heavy bolter pistol, an Astartes chainsword, frag grenades and crack grenades. Now the frag grenades and crack grenades, you're not going to see the stats on this data sheet that's included in the Space Marines Codex. But at the back of the book, you can find all the weapons listed there with all their stats. So it's really easy to find, and then you can just make a note of that when you're using those weapons in the game. But the datasheet does include the heavy bolt pistol and Astartes chainsword. So let's have a look at that heavy bolt pistol first. So this has got a range of 18 inches. It's a pistol 1 type, so you're going to get 1 attack with it. it's got a strength of 4, armor penetration is -1, and the damage is 1. And this isn't going to come with any abilities. Then we've got the Astartes Chainsaw. This is a melee, so you've got to be at engagement range for this. The type is melee. The strength is based on the user, so our strength here is going to be 4. The armor penetration is -1, and the damage is 1. But we can see here in the abilities, it tells us that each time the bearer fights, it makes 1 additional attack with this weapon. Next, we've got the war gear options. And the first point tells us that the Assault Intercessor Sergeant's heavy bolt pistol can be replaced with one of the following: a hand flamer or a plasma pistol. And then the second point tells us that the Assault Intercessor Sergeant's Astartes Chainsword can be replaced with one of the following: a power fist, a power sword, or a thunder hammer. Now all of these are going to cost points, and you can find all the points value in a great section at the back of the book. So this is really handy for when you're building your army, because it tells you the unit size, the unit cost, and then all the extra points those additional weapons are going to cost you. And then if you want to use those weapons, all the stats for them are also at the back of the book. Next, we've got the abilities. It tells us here they've got the Angel of Death and Combat Squad abilities. And these are on pages 124 to 125. And the first one is Angels of Death. So let's take a look at that now. This is quite a lot going on here. So it tells us that Space Marines are amongst the finest warriors in the Imperium. This unit has the following abilities, which are described below: and they shall know no fear, bolter discipline, shock assault, and combat doctrine. So let's break this down and look at and they shall know no fear first. Space Marines stand unafraid before the terrors of the galaxy. So each time a combat attrition test is taken for this unit, ignore any or all modifiers. So that one's nice and straightforward. The next one is bolter discipline, but this doesn't apply to the Assault Intercessors because it tells us that it does have to be the rapid fire type, and the type for their heavy bolt pistol is just pistol 1, so we can't actually use this one for the Assault Intercessors. Next though, we've got Shock Assault, and this is awesome for the Assault Intercessors. So the Adeptus Astartes are elite troops who strike with the fury of a thunderbolt, and few opponents can withstand this onslaught. And here, each time this unit fights, if it made a charge move, was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn, then until that fight is resolved, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of models in this unit. So this is a great ability for the Assault Intercessors. Next, we've got the combat doctrines, and there's a lot going on here, so we've got a fair bit to cover within this. But when the Adeptus Astartes fight, they employ a set of combat doctrines to eliminate the enemy, and after pounding the foe with heavy weapons, warriors advance to lay down a hail of bolter fire before charging forth with chainsaws roaring to finish the foe. So if every unit from your army has the Adeptus Astartes keyword, excluding the Agent of Imperium and unaligned units, this unit gains a bonus depending on which combat doctrine is active for your army. And those are as follows. During the first battle round, the Devastator doctrine is active for your army. During the second battle round, the Tactical doctrine is active. And at the start of the third battle round, you can select either the Tactical doctrine or Assault doctrine, and until the end of that battle round, the doctrine you selected is active for your army. But during the fourth and subsequent battle rounds, the Assault doctrine is active for your army, and unless specified otherwise, this bonus is not cumulative with any other rules that improve the armor penetration characteristic of a weapon. Let's look at each of these doctrines individually now. So the first is the Devastator. So this is going to come in during the first battle round. And while this combat doctrine is active, you improve the armor penetration characteristic of every heavy and grenade weapon that models in this unit are equipped with by 1. So if you've got those grenades, you've got a frag grenade, you've got the crack grenade, then you can apply this Devastator doctrine to those. Now we've got the Tactical doctrine. Now this isn't going to apply to the Assault Intercessors because this is for every rapid fire and assault weapon. So during the second round, they're not going to have any of these combat doctrines available to them specifically. Then we've got the assault doctrine. So this can be a choice in the 3rd round, and it will be in play in the 4th round. And this is the one that really suits the assault intercessors. And while this combat doctrine is active, improve the armor penetration characteristic of every pistol and melee weapon that models in this unit are equipped with by 1. So with the chainsword, this is really going to come in handy. And that brings us nicely on to the final ability, which is the combat squads. And here, Space Marine squads can break down into smaller, tactically flexible formations known as combat squads. And at the start of deployment, before any units have been set up, if this unit contains the maximum number of models that it can, then it can be split into 2 units containing as equal a number of models as possible. But when splitting a unit using this ability, just make a note of which models form each of the 2 new units. I'll be going over a lot of these abilities in more detail once the series develops and we start actually getting some gameplay in with the different units. So look out for those coming soon. Now we're on to faction keywords, and the Assault Intercessor squad has got Imperium, Adeptus Astartes. Where it says chapter, you'll put the actual chapter. So for me, it'll be the Ultramarines. Then we've got keywords, which are Infantry, Corps, Primaris, Intercessors, and Assault Intercessor squad. And all these keywords will take place into the abilities and the stratagems. And we're going to look at the stratagems now. So here we've got some datasheet related stratagems, and stratagems are a key part of Warhammer 40,000 as they represent your army commander's orders, and you're the army commander, so you're going to be giving these orders. So just make sure you follow the core rules from the core rulebook, and then you'll spend your command points to use the different stratagems. The first stratagem is called Honour the Chapter, and this is going to cost 2 command points. This one's a battle tactic stratagem, and you use it at the end of the fight phase, where you select one Assault Intercessor squad unit from your army that is within engagement range of enemy units, and that unit can fight again. So this is a great one, 2 command points, but I think it's well worth it. Next we've got Transhuman Physiology, another battle tactic, and it says here that we use this stratagem in any phase when a Primaris unit from your army is selected as the target of an attack. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is made against that unit, an unmodified wound roll of 1 to 3 for that attack fails, irrespective of any abilities that the weapon or the model making the attack may have. And if that unit contains 5 or fewer models, this stratagem costs 1 command point, otherwise it's going to cost you 2 command points. Another one that's great for the Assault Intercessors is Gene Wrought Might, another battle tactic stratagem, and we use this in the fight phase when a Primaris unit from your army is selected to fight. And until the end of the phase, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, an unmodified hit roll of 6 automatically wounds the target. So another great one, especially when you've got like maybe 10 in your squad and you're rolling a ton of dice, having that unmodified hit roll of 6 automatically wounding the target is really great, and that's 1 command point. Next is called Steady Advance. This is 2 command points, and this one's a strategic ploy stratagem, and we use this in your movement phase when an Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army makes a normal move. Until the end of the turn, that unit is considered to have remained stationary, so that's going to have some benefits to shooting and things like that. Next is Uncompromising Fire, another 2 command points and another strategic ploy stratagem. So here, use this stratagem in your shooting phase. Select one Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army that is performing an action. That unit can shoot this phase without that action failing. And finally, we've got a War Gear stratagem next called Auspex Scan, and this is 2 command points as well. And you use this stratagem at the end of the reinforcement step of your opponent's movement phase, and select one Adeptus Astartes infantry unit from your army that is not within engagement range of any enemy units. That unit can shoot as if it were your shooting phase, but its models can only target a single eligible enemy unit that was set up as reinforcements this turn, and that is within 12 inches of their unit when doing so. So this one's a bit complicated. This is going to come into the reinforcement step, so as you get into the more advanced rules, that's going to play a part. And just like the other things we've gone through, I'm going to go into a lot more detail about these stratagems with some playthroughs on the tabletop, because I think that's when it all starts to make a lot more sense. But hopefully introducing you to them now will give you a chance to go away, have a read through and see how you can incorporate them and use them in your army during the planning stage as well, and just do some practice with it. So really this is an overview, this is just an introduction, and we'll certainly go into a lot more detail and see how we can use them actually on the tabletop really soon. Now we've gone through the introduction and loads of information for the Assault Intercessors, I thought it'd be cool to look at where you can buy them. So if you want to pick some up, this is where you can go to get them. And I think a great place to start is the Recruit Edition. This is going to give you some great models, it's going to get you started, give you the basic rules, and you're going to get some Necrons to fight against too. And this is £32.50, but I'll put some links in the description below that can take you to Wayland Games and Element Games, and there you can save 20% on the retail price. There'll be affiliate links, but you'll save some money, won't cost you anything extra, and you'll support the channel as I get a small commission too. You can step up to the next set, which is the Elite Edition. Now this is going to give you a few more models. Now you're going to get some of those Outriders, and you're going to get a Captain as well, so that's really great. So you're going to get a nice selection here to get started with, and you're going to get those Necrons as well, a few extra ones. This is a bit more, this is twice as much as £65, but you get a lot going on here, and so this is another good place to start. Again, take 20% off that, and it's pretty reasonable for the models included. And then the big jump up is going to be to the Command Edition. Now you're going to get the same models, but some terrain, a better board, and a better rule book. Now you're going to get the full rule book, so that's really worth it. And that's going to be 105, again, 20% off. That's a great place to start if you don't have any models already. If you just want to give a go at painting, dip your toe in the water, then I think this Assault Intercessor paint set is a good start too. It's got the paints you need, it's got a brush, and 3 models that are really easy to build. It's £22.50, so again with a discount you're going to save up to 20%. Personally, I'd go for the first one, that Recruit Edition, and then buy some paints. But if you only want to have a little go, then this could be a good option for you too. Another good option, if you can get it and if you can start it, certainly in the US this is an option right now at the time of making this video in December 2021, is the Imperium magazine. This is an awesome way to collect a Space Marine army and a Necron army, and this is what's got me into Warhammer 40,000 and why I'm doing these videos. As I'm learning to play, I'm putting all the information I'm getting from the Imperium magazine and the Ultramarine and the Space Marine codexes, and then I'm putting that into these videos. I love these magazines, I think it's fantastic. Getting them delivered every 4 weeks and learning the rules a little bit at a time is really fun, and yeah, a great way. If you can get it, that's a great way to start, and you can save a fair bit of money too. I've done lots of videos on this Imperium magazine if you want to check it out. One about the subscription, what it's all about. It's specific to the US now, as it's just starting there. And then I've also done loads about all the different issues as they're being delivered. So as I get them, I feature them here on the channel too. I hope you enjoyed this beginner's guide intro to the Assault Intercessors. I think the Space Marines are awesome, a great way to start the game. I'm really having a great time, and I hope that comes across and you enjoy learning about them too. So I hope it's been helpful, and if I've made any mistakes or I've said something that you think's not quite right, just let me know in the comment section below. I'd also love to hear your feedback. What do you think about the Assault Intercessors? Are they in your army? Would you want to include them based on what you've seen here? So yeah, let me know in the comment section below. Be awesome to hear from you. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Please like if you like it, subscribe for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to join me next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.